Don't worry. Okay, there we go.
Thomas, what order are we going in? Oh, sorry.
Yeah, there's anyone. Fran, do you want to go first today? If you like, Fran can go first. You want to go Amara, then Sine, and then Samantha, if you like. Go in that order.
Perfect.
How that everyone came on. So let's just go. Hi, everybody, and welcome back to Reader's Warehouse Recommends live on a Monday. I'm Thomas from Reader's Warehouse, and if you're new to this, every Monday we are live with book recommendations. This week we are looking at exciting new adult titles, fiction and nonfiction. Joining us today, we have four amazing people from the publishing industry. We have Francis Thorndike from Pam Macmillan, South Africa. We have Amara Kabaldeen from Penguin Random House, South Africa. We have Sine Rapel from the Weaver Sales and Marketing. And we have Samantha Jacobs from John the Bull Publishers. So thank you all for joining us today. We're going to be doing 3 rounds of book recommendations. And each round, one of these wonderful people are going to tell us about a really exciting book that we should be reading. And then at the end, I'll be highlighting the top 10 books that have been selling for us in adult books at Reader's Warehouse. So Francis, over to you for your first title.
Okay, I've got some whoppers here, but I'm going to start with a new Christy Leftieri. So hopefully you know her from The Beekeepers of Aleppo and Songbirds. She always seems to do a sort of a family saga where there's some sort of tragedy that everyone has to overcome with the, the triumph of the human spirit. This, I suppose, is no different. What I loved about this is the mix of people. So it's about an English/Greek family that the father's been away a lot. They're slightly disconnected. And then the mother sees this man starting a fire. And she thinks nothing of it. She's going through her own internal process at the time. But that fire turns into those fires that ravaged Greece, if you remember.
Wow.
It was like wave after wave of fires. And she has incredible guilt for not stopping him at that starting point. And also, I mean, incredible guilt because the families around them and their homes are obliterated. There's somehow is not too damaged and they all survive, whereas most of their neighbors have lost many loved ones. So it's partly about survivor's guilt. It's also very much about how we cohabit with the environment. But what she does so beautifully is it's the daughter in this, the young person who kind of pulls everyone through the tragedy onto the kind of the next regrowth. So I don't want you to think it's all doom and gloom. It's not, fires and despair. It is fires and despair that turns into something else, metamorphosizes into something else. It's the most wonderful read, and you'll care for all the characters in the book. So that is The Book of Fire by Christy Leftieri.
Yep, the stock is literally leaving the supply at the moment, and we'll have it in all our stores by Friday this week. So I know it's going to be a huge seller. There's a big fan base for this author as well, and compared to her previous books, I'm sure this one's even going to be as magically written and everything as well.
I think it's going to surpass Songbirds. I think it's going to be like Beekeeper of Aleppo. It's got that same kind of broad feel.
Okay, wonderful. That's a brilliant pick for book clubs as well if you're looking for something. So yeah. Okay, wonderful. Thank you, Fran. All right, Amara, over to you for your first title.
Yes, I'm actually very excited about my titles this week. I mean, I'm excited about all of our titles all of the time. But coming in first, I've got a new non-fiction book by Justin Fox called Place. Can everybody see that? Is it sharing?
Yeah.
Okay. I also have a physical copy here, which I'm very excited about. So Justin Fox, for those who don't know who he is, was the previous editor of Getaway magazine. And so he's got such a good history of writing about travel and such a really well-versed background. He's been traveling his entire life, and he talks about that in this book. But what he's done is, because he's also a fiction author and he reads a lot, he's went around South Africa to all of the places, well, not all of the places, but places where people have written. I don't know if you can see that map on this thing, but where people have written books set in South Africa, and then he writes about those places. He travels to those places and he writes about it. So it includes Olive Schreiner's Karoo, Jock of the Bushveld, Eugene Marais Waterberg, James Coetzee's Moordenaars Karoo, Darlene Matthias' Knives in the Forest, and Zeksom does Wild Coast. And it's just like more and more stories. And he writes all about traveling through these places of literary places of South Africa. And it's a travel book. It's a South African book. It's just a beautifully written sort of guide to South Africa as well. If you really like, he even has a little map here of like a route that you can take as you travel through all the places that he writes about. Yeah. So that.
You want to do this, Amara? I want that.
Yes. I got my copy today. I was like, I can't. I have to get my copy today. I'm very excited. And my friend,
Wow.
my friend actually used to work for Getaway magazine. And so I'm passing it on to her. I have to buy her a copy as well. So I'm just really excited. I think it's going to be one of my favorite books of the year.
Yeah, it's so nice how you connected the two together with having like the places and then books based on those places. It's quite a nice thing. And I think especially if someone, so that sounds such a nice like Christmas present for somebody or birthday present for someone who likes to travel around, South Africa. Yeah, what a great
And
book.
it's got images inside it as well. Not like a full grouping of photographs, but he's got pictures of his own travels and pictures of the towns and what they would have looked like back when the books were written. So really, really stunning.
Wow. Very clever. Okay, well, thank you so much, Amara. All right, so Sinead, over to you for your first title.
Okay, thank you, Thomas. Let me quickly just get everything on screen.
Sure.
Okay, there we go. So first up today, I have something also very exciting and a bit different. If I can just find, there we go. So first up, we have The Essence of Dreams from Stephen Aspelin. Now, Stephen is very well known in the local film industry and in the film criticism industry. He's very well known as a film critic. People really trust his opinions and recommendations when it comes to movies. And this is his contemporary collection of film reviews, which covers all his favorite films that he's reviewed and sort of serves as a movie bucket list. So this is his essential guide to all the movies he feels you must see at some stage if you are a movie buff. So he really focuses on films that have created an immersive experience that feels like you are really entering this new world and beyond just the four walls of the screen. It also includes some very cool and interesting sketches that have been inspired by the films themselves. So that really adds a very cool element to this read. So yeah, definitely a must-have for movie lovers. It would also make a great gift, I think. So yeah, and Stephen is, like I said, very well known in this field. He's criticized and reviewed movies on radio, on TV. He's judged film competitions, served on so many panels. So I believe viewers and readers will definitely recognize his name. And yeah, this is available now. So we're very excited about this one.
Yeah, I think it's really also like a great birthday or Christmas gift. And I was reading a little bit about it that he does like he has art house and very mainstream movies in the book. And also like people who have maybe read one of his reviews before will see how different approach he takes things that are maybe even movies from the past that you didn't think of watching. Maybe reading the review will like make you relook at it maybe. So yeah.
Yeah, so you're definitely going to find some new favorite movies and also learn more about your movies that you already love. So yeah, so definitely a great collection.
Great. Thank you so much, Sinead. All right, Samantha, over to you for your first title.
Thanks, guys. All right. So for me, I'm relieved and sad and like everything all in one. So we have Farewell to the Little Coffee Shop of Kabul. We started the series off with the Coffee Shop of Kabul, which is just a beautiful story about this little coffee shop that was there. Excuse me. And now Deborah is sort of ending off the series now with a farewell, and she comes back to the coffee shop almost 8 years later, and she can't wait to see her Kabul family. And there is one of the ladies who was there with her, Yasmina. She now runs a sort of a woman's shelter from the old cafe that was there. So we have her story, and by running the shelter sort of creates a new avenue for her two daughters that she has. And so, it's the outlook on life is just, exciting for her. Her sister, though, has become an activist. And with the helps of obviously social media, she's quite a celebrity. So she's made it in life as well. There is her friend from America also who has just busy with her own life and sort of ending off things on her side. And the most tragic part, I think, of her coming back to Kabul is the fact that the US troops are starting to retreat out of Kabul now, which means that the Taliban is about to take over, and they're coming full force and with a lot of vengeance. So this, I think, is a beautiful and heartbreaking story as well, because we look at the effects of what happened after the troops actually left Afghanistan and all of that, and what it meant for the people who helped them out, how they were discarded and how they were just set apart from everyone else because they were basically known as traitors. And so it's get a box of tissues, get everything ready, sort of sit down when you grab this book and sort of finish this beautiful story that she has set out in the 3 books for us. So this is The Farewell.
Yeah, it's a wonderful title, and we got this, I think, last week, and I already started seeing the sales for it. So she's definitely got a huge fan base, and
she does. Yeah.
And her writing style is just next to none. It's so well. She's a great storyteller. So
she is definitely. Yeah.
Amazing pick. Thank you so much, Samantha.
Cool.
All
Thank
right.
you.
So that was end of round 1. So Frances, over to you for your second title.
Okay, so my second book is by Heather Morris, and I'm sure you all know The Tattooist of Auschwitz. It's one of those seminal books that's been around forever and ever. Hopefully everyone's read it by now. It's a gem. And what Heather Morris does so well is the Second World War. I mean, that's her passion. That's where she really creates wonderful stories. So this is set in a very different kind of concentration camp. So we meet 2 women in Singapore in 1942. And this is when Japan has just entered the Second World War, and they've been taking over the islands in the Pacific. And they've now moved on to Singapore. And the one woman is a musician, and she's just put her 8-year-old daughter on a ship going to London. And she's completely heartbroken and, in that sort of bereaved, lost state. And then there's another kind of feisty nurse. And they the Japanese planes are overhead. They need to board a ship, so they get on a ship with a whole lot of other passengers. And just when you think they're getting somewhere, the ship is bombed, and they end up floating on the ocean, clinging on to bits of debris. And they make it onto this island, and again, as the reader, you go, yes, you've made it. And then the Japanese sort of swoop in and grab them and take them to a concentration camp. So a very different feel to that Tattooist of Auschwitz. This is a concentration camp in the middle of the jungle. You've got the weather, the insects, the venomous things to deal with, as well as the brutality of the Japanese. And then the musician starts a sort of a vocal orchestra, if you will, where they bash things and sing and waltzing Matilda at the top of their lungs, and kind of boosts morale. And it looks at the woman and how they survive that and what happens to them afterwards. It's just so evocative. You feel like beads of sweat dripping off your brow as you're reading it, and you're sort of swatting away the flies, Really, really good. I think it's going to stand alongside as a sister to The Tattooist of Auschwitz.
Wow,
What I
that
really
sounds
love
good.
about Heather Morris, sorry to Thomas,
Yeah,
is
good,
that
good.
she writes about things that actually happened, but she just adds so much emotion and feeling to the writing that you feel. I don't know if you understand, but the whole reason for reading fiction is to understand the emotions of a time, and she does that so
Absolutely.
well.
And thanks, Amara, because what I forgot to say, it's based on a true, that ship was bombed. It's actually a true story. So, yeah, which she always seems to do.
I mean, I was going to say her books are so like harrowing, the stories and what she puts the characters through, you like you're saying, you really feel you with them. And so, yeah, I'm sure it's going to be a great, and it's nice. It's a different setting now for a change. It's to see a writing style there. So, yeah.
and it still has that like World War II element that goes in, but it's a completely different story
Completely different setting. Yeah.
yeah,
And
really
completely
nice.
different culture.
Yes. I'm
Wow,
very
really
excited
cool.
to read it. I might add
Wow,
that to
very
my
good.
list as well. This is the
Yeah.
problem with these readers warehouse things.
I know.
All right, perfect. Amara, over to you for your second title.
Okay, I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to share some sound because the title that I have is actually a non-fiction title by Shane Parrish. It's called Clear Thinking. And basically in the book, what he does is he looks at ways to think differently and all of the lessons inside. So it includes things like how to align your goals, to changing your environment to go alongside your goals, how to understand where your strengths are, how to understand why people do things differently and things that maybe not seem rational to you. It's all about how to put all of these ideas also into practice. So it's a very practical book. And what I do have is I have a video of Shane Parrish for us to listen to.
I'm Shane Parrish. In August 2001, I started working for a 3-letter intelligence agency. In the intense months that followed, I realized that nobody had ever taught me how to think clearly, and that was a problem. It set me on a journey of trying to work out what it means to think well and how we can all learn to do so. My new book, Clear Thinking, shares everything I've learned. I draw on conversations with the world's most remarkable thinkers, from Daniel Kahneman to Charlie Munger, to explore the secrets of good decision making. I introduce the simple tools and mental models that will help you make better calls day to day. And I make a simple but transformative argument that if you can clear your head, you can change your life. I've been blown away by the response to my book so far. James Clear called it indispensable. Ryan Holiday called it a masterwork. Jim Collins, who never blurbs any book, wrote me one. But I need your help to make it a phenomenon. Clear Thinking is out in October 2023, and I'd be so grateful for everything you can do to help me turn it into the biggest practical nonfiction book of the year. Thank you.
There you go.
Yeah,
I'm-
so that's my next book. Let's not look at that yet. So yes, like you said, he's got an amazing shout outs from all of the big names that you can think of. Jim Collins, who did From Good to Great, James Clear, who did Atomic Habits, Ryan Holiday, who did The Daily Stoic, Mark Manson, who did The Subtle Art of Not, and I Can't Swear, and all of these titles that, I mean, are classics, I think, in the non-fiction, are saying that his book is worth reading and it can change the way you think. And so I think that is a bigger comp than I could give it. But it's I think definitely one for the people who love non-fiction.
Yeah, it looks like a great title. And I think it's even coming out now. It's such a great book to get, like if you want to, start new habits for the new year, or somebody trying to think, or be more business-like and things like that. So yeah, great. All right, Sine, over to you for your second title.
Hey, thank you very much. So I am going to be keeping with the theme of nonfiction we seem to have going on with She Who Struggles. So this comes to us from Pluto Press, and we will be having stock available very soon. But in this book, we follow some revolutionary women who have shaped the world. So we all know there's a lot of info out there about all the famous men from the past who've made an impact. And in this, we focus on some of the women, and especially some different names you might never have heard of before. So it follows their stories and their struggles and just how they impacted the world. It's really an inspiring read. The authors really went into in-depth research. They found some primary sources that have never been translated into English before that we can find for the first time here. So that's very exciting. And what's also very exciting is it features a whole chapter on Lindiwe Mabuza, who was, of course, a South African activist, poet, diplomat. She was an extraordinary woman, and she also is featured here. So definitely some local relevance as well. So this is perfect for anybody looking for a new role model who's interested in a bit of the history of feminism and of the women who helped us to get where we are today. So yeah, so that is She Who Struggles, and it will be available very soon.
I'm really excited for this as well. I think it's going to be, it reminds me a little bit like the Rebel Girls book for children, but now more for adults, which is really great. And you might find you'll read these stories and then want to find out more about those people, which is really great. So,
yeah, exactly. And it's one of those perfect books that you can keep next to your bed and read a chapter a day. And you'll definitely want to go down a rabbit hole to find out more about these extraordinary women. So yeah, we're very excited about this one.
Great, wonderful. Thank you so much, Shanae. All right, Samantha, over to you for your second title.
So I can't tell you how excited I am about this book. It's one of those that it's just, yeah, it's amazing that she's finally sort of telling her story. So we have Thicker Than Water by Kerry Washington. She's a phenomenal actress. I mean, she's done everything from Django Unchained to Little Fires Everywhere to Unprisoned now with and I've forgotten his name. Unprisoned is her new one that she's sort of done. And here she's been very private. Like I think even if you start, I mean, now it's a little bit different because she's having all these interviews and stuff about her life in the book. But before that, there was absolutely nothing that you knew about her. And I think everyone sort of fell more in love with her when she became, this unbelievably out there actress in The Fixer. Having an affair with the president. I mean, rare. But I mean, she's been married since 2013, I think it is. And even that has been a sort of a very private situation. So this is her first time that she's actually just letting us know who she is, what she's been through. And from the interviews that she's been having, it is absolutely unbelievable that you would think that such a glowing actress has gone through such a difficult and traumatic life. She finds out stuff about her. She gets a text message one day, and then that just changes the trajectory of her life completely, because everything that she thought and knew, to be true has just changed in a blink of a text. She is a massive advocate now for women's rights and all of that. She's a mother. Who knew? And so she's trying to sort of in the book, she's trying to help you understand who you are, what is your purpose, how to find out who you are with grace and honesty, and just everything that you sort of struggle with is finding out your identity. She's trying to help you with telling her story and what she's had to go through. So Thicker Than Water is in store at the moment, and we're really excited about it. So yay.
Yeah, very exciting. Hopefully this is going to sell this as well as like the Viola Davis, that surprised us,
exactly. Yes.
But I have to say that there's been so many stories coming out from this book. So it's definitely she's sharing a lot of information. I know there's a story about her father that the father she grew up with and her biological father are different, and she found out. Like it's all these amazing stories are coming out. So I think that, like you said, she's been so quiet that you don't know her story, and now she's sharing a whole lot. So yeah.
And now she's sharing everything, and it's sort of, can you imagine just what a sense of relief even that is, just for herself to sort of just get rid of all the angst of trying for people not out, her deep dark secret. Actually, maybe someone will benefit from me telling my story. So this is what she's done with this book. So yeah. And Reese is also actively pushing this book for her as well. Obviously, with Little Fires Everywhere, they acted together in that. So yeah, she has a great following and great.
Perfect, wonderful. Thank you so much. We'll find out now in the book. So, all right, we're on to the last round. So, Frances, over to you for your final book.
Okay, so I've done harrowing, I've done traumatic, I've done based on real stuff. I'm going to go completely off the page here and do Love Light Farms. Okay, so this is a 4-book series as far as I know, although book 4 is eluding us at this stage, but this is complete and utter guilty pleasure stuff. Okay, don't even try and elevate this to some kind of literary level, but it is so good. So I think what makes it so good is that we meet these 4 best friends, and they each take it in turns to be the main protagonist or secondary character of each book. So in this one, we meet a woman she's inherited a Christmas tree farm. and they're really battling. And to bring this influencer to the farm for a kind of a weekend of planting stuff in the dirt. And this is an influencer, only ever wears fake nails and high heels. And then the influencer becomes the main character of the next book, because she meets a farmer in this book who's real compared to her kind of pseudo life, and they fall in love. And it's got all the tropes. It's got tropes of tropes. So it's got, in this one, she lies to the presenters and says that her and her boyfriend own this farm, and she doesn't have a boyfriend, so she persuades her best friend to be the boyfriend, and of course they fall in love, as we would expect. But I think what is so special about these books, I've got both of them, I'm going to buy them, Thomas, I can't resist, is the town of Inglewild. So it's very seldom that a town, the sort of background becomes a character. So Inglewild has got all these wonderful characters that pop in and out of the books. And just as you're kind of wondering, what happened to that farmer on that tractor who was going, and he said that really interesting thing, he pops up in book 3 again, to make another interesting statement and then sort of carry on in these tractors. So there's this wonderful town that weaves all these characters together. And the writing is just lovely. It's gushy stuff you'll want to share with all your besties.
Yeah, and I know when I saw Pamela in UK this year, they kept talking about Love Light Farms, the first one, and having a romance book set on a Christmas tree farm. It just sounds like such a great, it's something you're going to see on Netflix or Hallmark. It's destined to be something, and and I think that
Netflix series, please.
Yeah, and I think it seems like all 4 books will be set on farms in this town, So I think it's also something different for romance. But yeah, that the first one is set on a Christmas tree farm. It's like no one's ever maybe been on a Christmas tree farm before. What happens there now? You get taken there, and there's this story.
And then you got an influencer coming into this farm,
Yeah.
who's used to the modern life. It's so good.
Yeah, so if anyone who loves romance, this is like a series to look out for, and give it a try, for sure.
Got all the feels.
All the feels. Okay, perfect. Thank you, Frances. Okay, Amara, over to you for your final book.
Okay, so we all saw my final book earlier. It's called
The Dive
by Sarah Ox. So Penguin Random House does this thing every month where we pick a debut title every month of the year. And we try and pick debuts that we think deserve a space, because every year, every month, there are hundreds, if not thousands, of debuts on the shelves. And we really want to pick one that we think is really special. So some of the ones that we maybe picked out before would be Dictionary of Lost Words, Lessons in Chemistry. Those are some big ones for us. And last month, September, October, we've got The Dive. And this one is a thriller, so I'm taking it completely in the opposite direction of Brad's book. Sarah Ox wrote this book during lockdown. She was obviously stuck at home, and she had been a traveler her whole life, and she was like, what am I going to do in this time? And she remembered that the last time she was in Thailand, she was on the small, secluded island. And while she was there, one of the expats came to her and said, you won't believe the story that happened about these divers foreign divers who all went missing in the ocean. And something happened, and it was like this murderous tale. So she based this book off that. So we have a thriller, it's fast-paced, and the writing is also very transportive. So, because one of the things that she wanted to do was in 2020 be able to travel, but she couldn't. So she wrote this book as if she were traveling, trying to remember all the smells, all the feelings, all the sensations of the sand under your toes, and trying to sort of get that into this book while also telling this thriller story and keeping people entertained and flipping the pages. And I think she does it so well. With thrillers, it is very plot focused. So I've kind of given you a little something to dip your toes into, maybe not take a full dive, but this is definitely one, if that's the kind of book that you like, with something to keep you entertained, something to just read in one sitting. That's the style of this book.
Wow, it's like one of those books where you'll read the first few chapters and then you have to keep the rest of the afternoon open to carry on reading.
Yeah.
And you won't want to
Yes.
like stop, you know, you need to
Yeah.
stop everything and just carry on to see what's going to happen. So yeah, exciting.
Yes. So that's the dive.
Perfect. Wonderful. Thank you so much, Amara. Okay, Sine, over to you for your final book.
Okay, thank you. It seems Amara and I are very much in sync today because I also have a thriller of sorts as my final book. So from Legend Press, we have The Conjurer's Apprentice. Like I said, this is a historical thriller based in Bloody Mary's cruel England. So you can already sort of imagine the setting. It's dark, it's dank, it's a bit mysterious. And this is very much the vibe of the book as well. So we kick off with a murder that implicates Princess Elizabeth when the body of a young boy is found with a false royal seal and a strange letter. And this then threatens to bring down the whole of the Tudor dynasty. So this book is definitely a must read for anybody interested in Tudor history. So we follow Dr. John Dee and his secret apprentice, Margareta, as they use their abilities and their intelligence to investigate this first murder, which is then quickly followed by another. So this is really one of those books where the intrigue just builds and it's twist upon turns. So it will definitely keep you gripped and keep you entertained in a very interesting, very atmospheric historical setting. So yeah, so that is The Conjurer's Apprentice, and it's a historical thriller with a bit of a magical twist and some surprises in store. So yeah, so we are very excited about this one as well.
You know what I saw online about this, all the reviews that I've seen, people are so excited this is going to be a series. I don't know if it's a trilogy, but it's book one in like a potential like murder, like Mary, like series. So I think it must be the investigators or the people and the characters that they have done in this book. People are so excited for. And I saw they say this is very good for people who read CJ Sanson, you know, and we have a huge following for that. And so and the cover looks amazing as well. So
yeah, no, definitely one to look out for. And yeah, it's also been getting great reviews, great blurbs. So yeah, so we are very excited.
Great, wonderful. Thank you so much, Sine.
Thank you.
All right, great. Samantha, over to you if you're still there for your final title. Here we go.
I'm still here. Okay, so I'm gonna go local for our next title. So this is Johannes Radebe's biography. For those who don't know, he was in Strictly Come Dancing. He was only the second, I think, pairing of a same-sex couple that was happening at on TV at the moment. But he is absolutely sort of just amazing. He's outspoken. He's just an awesome presence to be around. And so when he did his, I think it was Blondie's Rapture that he literally came out to, and he was doing this dance, and afterwards when he did the interviews, that was actually him telling his story of actually coming out to the world, saying this is who I am. He was tired of all the bullying. He was tired of keeping the secret. He finally flew home from the UK and then had the first real conversation with his mother about him being gay and you know everything that he had to sort of go through as far as racism is concerned, as far as homophobia is concerned. He also just talks about how he was stopped by the police, saying that you look suspicious. So his story is it's just unbelievable to think that something so close to home, because I was born in Stella, and to have that conversation, I think not just for anybody, but specifically a Black male to have this conversation with his parents to say that who I am, take me or leave me kind of situation. And so he wants to shed light on what the bullying sort of looks like looked like for him, basically, and how to sort of stop it or step away from it, so that you can live your purpose and your best life. He shares everything with his readers, all the joys, all the triumphs that he's had, all the love he's received, and he's just excited to be able to tell his story in totality. So this is his Finally Home.
Yeah, I have to say, I'm so excited we got this now in stock. And so I have to say, if you have any fans of this book or this of Johannes, like go and get it, because I think this book is going to sell
Yeah.
out during the Christmas time. And I remember when we posted about this book on our
Yes.
social media, there were so many people commenting to their friends and family, like, look, he's got a book coming out. And I think he, you know, in the UK, he's like he's been so well embraced there. You know, everyone like loves
Yes.
him. You know, he's like a huge celebrity there, and I think people aren't going to really realize how big and popular he is here as well. You know,
And he's doing Celebrity MasterChef as well, who he did that one. So, you know, he's just growing, and he's doing, I think if I'm not mistaken, he's opened up a dance studio also, just to get other youngsters involved and keep them off the streets and stuff like that. So he's really doing a lot for youngsters in particular, just to get them interested in dance, and not necessarily think that that is only, you know, only girls can do that, or only, you know, certain people can sort of be involved in that kind of world. But yeah, he's doing a lot, which I'm absolutely amazed for, and I think he's going to do a lot of publicity as well for his book. So great stuff.
Yeah, and I'm sure the book is going to be just like his charisma and his
pours out
energy
in
and
it.
everything. Yeah, it's just going to be, you know, the story is going to be so like tongue in cheek and sad at the same time. You know,
Yes.
read them. So,
Yes.
wonderful.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much.
Awesome.
That's fantastic. Okay. Well,
Thank
that's
you.
the 3 rounds. Let me just quickly let everybody know what our top 5 books were for the past 2 weeks. So this is our top 10 for the past 2 weeks of Reader's House for adult books. So the 10 to 6 is basically The New Car and Rose. Then the Twisted series still selling extremely well, thanks to, I think, things like Book Talk. The first book is number 9. Then there's a new Lisa Jewell. Then we have the Nick Mallet book about the insight into World Cup rugby at number 7. And then the new Jeffrey Archer and William Warwick is number 6. Then number 5, still selling extremely well. Still one of our biggest pre-orders at the moment is the Rebecca Yarros for a second title, Iron Flame, I think it's called. But the first book, Fourth Wing, is our 5th book. Number 4 is The New Ken Follett. It came out last week, and the sales have been so wonderfully received. The New Ken Follett, The Night Bridge. This is, I think they were saying now, if you take all 7 novels, I think it's 7 novels, that you'll cover over 100 years. I think they said, or was it 1,000 years? I can't remember, either 100 or it was 1,000 years. I'm sure it must be 100.
It's 1,000 years.
Is it 1,000? Oh wow, 1,000 years. Yeah. What an incredible story. Yeah, I haven't seen reviews for this, but the response so far has been absolutely amazing. Number 3 is the new Richard Osman title, The Next New Thursday Murder Club Mystery. And then number 2, still being super strong, the Abraham Verghese novel, The Covenant of Water. And then number 1 is the Rassi book, still number 1, Rassi Rasmus and David Sutherland, his biography. We still have a few book-plated signed copies, so if you have anyone that you know that wants this book, I'll just recommend you getting a booklet signed copy while you still can on our website or in our stores. And that is it. So thank you so much for watching and tuning in. And we'll be back next Monday with children's titles. But until then, happy reading, and thank you all for joining us. Bye, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Martha.
Cheers.
Thanks, all right.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye.
All right. Thank you, guys.